All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is Seattle Pandemonium Shutdown day 417 by my count. What's going on? What's going down? We've got, it's hard to always, come up with something meaningful to say about any of the things that are happening because there's so much noise and so much insanity happening that it's hard to get a good, deep take on anything. So let me say this. There's an interesting kind of, intersection of different issues that touch on the same thing. And I want to say statism is a hell of a drug. So what I mean is, of course, we live in a country. Our country is a geographical zone. Within this geographical zone, there's a border around this zone. And within this zone, our government of whatever level is quote unquote in control or has dominion over this geographic area. So that's the state, right? Now, here's why the statism is a hell of a drug. Because I want you to observe something. At the same time that the country tore itself apart over the last year over whether or not to defund the police, we're going to defund the police, we're not going to defund the police, we're going to reform the police, the police are racists and authoritarians and they're hunting down minorities and it's all terrible and we have to do away with it. Except until today, when the FBI goes and serves a search warrant, on Rudy Giuliani, one Rudolph Giuliani, Donald Trump's lawyer, at least during his administration, if I believe. Goofy guy, yeah, he's a weirdo. His hairline was melting. You remember that? Former mayor of New York City. During 9/11, he became like America's mayor. Everyone loved him. Now they're applauding the FBI going in, serving a warrant, and they desperately want, just like they wanted, and they said Trump and his family are gonna be in orange jumpsuits, they're gonna do a perp walk. Now all of a sudden, you want that state power. Oh, you want that law enforcement apparatus. Oh God, you can smell it. Oh, it's just right there. Oh, and your guys in the executive branch. Oh, you got Congress kind of under control. Oh, you get that state power. Oh, you could serve warrants on everybody. Now all of a sudden, you want the police to have whatever budget they need to arrest whoever you want them to. Imagine that. Imagine my shock. It's this hypocrisy. Now this is the other issue, okay? Why statism is a hell of a drug. These same people, some of them anyway, who've been calling for defunding the police and smash the state and we live in this racist, sexist, hierarchy, blah, blah, blah. Now, the Biden administration wants to outlaw menthol cigarettes. That's right, mentholated cigarettes. Why, you ask? Because they are disproportionately consumed by minorities, non-white people. I think specifically African Americans consume the mentholated cigarettes more. I mean, they're saying that. I don't know if, Kool, the whoever owns Kool probably has the demo numbers. They know where they sell the most, and maybe that's true. So, Smokin Joe's gonna ban menthol cigarettes. It's like, this is that nanny statism stuff that is a pernicious form of statism. It is meant to be done on your behalf for public health. Kind of like all the lockdowns and the mask mandates and all of this nonsense over the last, 13 months? How many months now? So again, this whole thing is racist and sexist, but now let's ban black people's favorite cigarette because they're not smart enough or have the agency to not smoke if they don't want to. If the menthols are there, they're just gonna snatch them up and just start smoking them. They have no one's ever told them smoking is bad for them. It's not listed on the package of the cigarettes itself that they're dangerous and harmful to your health. We haven't had ad campaigns for decades telling people not to smoke. This somehow just didn't filter down to the black community. And so if we just take the menthol cigarettes off the market, and by the way, guys, I mean, isn't it a little ironic that a Democrat regime is going to prosecute people for selling cigarettes? Think about it. It's just fascinating to watch the one ring of power, man. The power of the state. If you can get control of enough of the legislatures, get enough people in enough branches and enough agencies, they'll ban Tylenol if they want to, if they can come up with a good enough reason, a reason that will sell. It won't be a good reason, it'll be a reason that sells. Like, menthols are what's been holding back black people in America all this time. If they just stop smoking menthols, then, their life expectancy will go up, their unemployment rates will go down, net worth will, in theory, would go up. I'm not saying that forcibly stopping people from smoking cigarettes won't have a positive health outcome in the long term. It will. It certainly will if we banned alcohol, which we know it doesn't work, but if we were able to actually ban alcohol, death penalty for possession of alcohol, death penalty for possession of cigarettes, or any tobacco product, let's say, even vapes and everything, ban it all, death penalty. People would probably stop consuming these things at such high quantities. You would create a massive black market, where the death penalty is on the line, and so people who traffic in contraband will treat it as such. But you can get a positive health outcome on a long enough timeline. But at what cost? At the cost of, liberty, really. At the cost of having your own personal agency to make your own decisions. I'm going to smoke some menthols today. I'm not going to smoke some menthols today. I'm going to smoke a cigar today. I'm going to drink a scotch today. I don't really like scotch. Sorry, guys. I'm not classy enough for that or whatever. Maybe I'm not conservative enough for it. And I extend this, by the way, if there's any conservatives who are listening, are like, yes, stupid libs. Yeah, Trump could have legalized or rescheduled marijuana at any point during his term. So could Obama. So could Biden. Kamala Harris legalizes marijuana. I might laugh myself to death. Because that personal agency is bodily autonomy, and I don't need the state getting all involved in all of my own internal biology and what I do to entertain myself. Same thing as the mentholated cigarettes. And again, enforcement, guys. The people who are applauding this, like trained SEALs, by what mechanism do you think this would be enforced? By law enforcement. If it's the law, then it has to be enforced by law enforcement, which is the police. Okay? It's just astonishing. So if you're a black person and you are on board with the Black Lives Matter movement and you voted Democrat, well, congratulations. Like, this is what you get with Democrat statism, okay? And I hate to say it's predictable because, like, that sounds really cynical, but it is. People basically, I feel like people have been warning the black community for a long time. Like, I don't know, I can cite, like, Sonny Johnson and others who are, black commentators who try to tell people, like, the Democratic Party isn't your friend. They're not doing good things for you. And I sometimes see black people becoming aware of this, and it's, it's right there. It repeats itself like every, election cycle. The promises and the rhetoric and the inclusivity and we're gonna defeat systemic racism and blah blah blah, and then they do things like try to outlaw black people's favorite cigarettes. While this is solving racism somehow by enforcing more laws on the community, which is ironically also, if you know anything about Biden's record in Congress, actually the same thing, just not for menthol, for cools, but for other drugs, right? What was it? 94 crime bill made possession of felony or something? God, it's and statism is a hell of a drug because, I mean, it's sometimes, even I'm a statist cuck sometimes, because I'm like, well, you should call the police when somebody's breaking the law. Well, that's the system we're in. So, like, what are we supposed to do? Not do that? Well, kind of, yes. Kind of, yes. If you're actually being an actual, capital A, say, anarchist, you would never call the police. Now, at the same time, I agree that if we live in this system that we're supposed to have this law enforcement apparatus, and it's meant to be there to protect the citizenry, which one of the main arguments about, defunding the police is that they are failing in this fundamental task. I disagree statistically, yet anecdotally can be demonstrated to be true, so, we weight that however we weight that. But yeah, the power of state, the reach of especially the federal government, the powers it has, and who stands to benefit from the actions taken by the federal government specifically. State governments do this too. Like Washington State has some of the most absurd, policies and mission statements and objectives. It's just absolutely asinine. Things that are impossible for the state to achieve, which is actually wonderful for them because they've now granted themselves perpetual permission to spend money and create panels and blah, blah, blah to act towards this goal that is unattainable. It's actually, sort of dystopianly perfect. But yeah, now it's the Democrats' turn to wield supreme authority over the land and probably do things that will harm minorities, women, the lower classes. They will ban guns. They will put taxes on guns, regulations on guns that will make them more expensive. For who? The poor. What will the rich do? Buy private security and buy more firearms because they can afford the extra fees. You can't. God, it's so Cassandra-y, the Cassandra syndrome, right? It's like you can see she was cursed by one of the gods to always be able to see the future, but no one would listen or believe her. And it sometimes feels like that. Now, I've tried to call balls and strikes on a bunch of different issues, and, I got the Trump win wrong. I thought Trump was going to win re-election. All my indicators were basically the same as 2016. I was like, all right, we're doing it again. Everything's basically the same. It's just a repeat. Nope, not so. However, I kind of got a few things right. I think I'd have to go back and listen to my own words, but last year, 3-4 weeks into 2 weeks to flatten the curve, I think I said we're supposed to quarantine the at-risk and have everyone else go back to work like normal and mask and glove and sanitize and do all that and then get everybody back to work. And ultimately, it seems like I was right in terms of the lethality of the disease and who the at-risk demos are. But here we are. Still, they're talking about shutting restaurants down again in Oregon. Why? I don't know. So that we never have another case of COVID in Oregon? I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, again, it's this state power. As soon as these bureaucrats got a whiff of, the authority they have, the power they have to just, they can ruin your life or give it back. And oh, are they dangling it in front of us? Make 50% capacity at restaurants? You can get it. Come on. Oh, no, sorry, we had 5 more cases of COVID. Got to shut everything down. Oh, man. It's exhausting, and it's frightening, and I don't see it improving anytime soon because no one really thinks in this paradigm. I mean, obviously, I'm stepping on, like, people like Dave Smith's material, and, you know, commentary, but it's like, and he has a popular show, he's on Rogan, that was popular, but I don't hear any mainstream politicians talking in this way. They're not prioritizing this aspect of what we're doing with our government, and so it's only really going to get worse as the tribalism increases in the eternal struggle for the sword of the state. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.